This video is for business owners. This is for people who want to understand artificial intelligence. Now, you may have heard of it, artificial intelligence, AI. It's what all the cool kids are talking about these days. Now, right now, I'll be honest with you, when we're hearing about AI, it does feel a little bit like the wild, wild west. Everywhere you look, someone seems to be talking about it. And it depends on which side of the coin you look at this, whether you see it as a vision of hope for the future or a dystopian vision of a future that no one wants to see. Well, we're hearing different things. AI will replace all our jobs. AI will transform my business. AI is the future. AI is the most dangerous thing on the planet at the moment. AI is incredible. Now, that last statement, I would absolutely agree with. AI is incredible. Now, I walk a very fine line, I'll be honest, with this conversation, because I do think AI is incredible, but I also do think AI is incredibly dangerous too. Why? Well, as you know, I'm a fan of analogies and metaphors. And for me, AI is like we have discovered fire. And fire, as we all know, is an incredible substance, a material. I don't know what you call fire, but it is that thing. It is something that transformed us as humans. It allowed us to cook meats. It allowed us to evolve and to stay warm at night, and it nourished us. But as we all know, fire can also be a very destructive force if we don't have the guardrails, if we don't have the infrastructure to protect ourselves from this thing. So I want to offer a glimmer of hope to anyone who's thinking about AI, anyone who is confused by AI, and I want to give you a bit of an introduction to the topic of artificial intelligence, because there is a plethora of books already about this topic. Now, in reality, AI has been around for a very long time. Don't worry, I'm not going to go into the history, but I just want to give you a sense of how long this has been around. Because in truth, it's been around since about 1956. It's certainly been spoken about way before that. Ada Lovelace once talked about machines being able to be given instructions that would allow it to create art and music. And Ada Lovelace was someone who was around in the 19th century. So we've had this concept of a form of artificial intelligence for a very long time. But in all honesty, the majority of people will know about AI since probably 2022, when Chat GPT became a thing and it came onto everyone's radar. But let's be really practical about this. Half the people running actual businesses are sitting there thinking, okay, this is all really interesting. This is all fascinating stuff, scary as well as intriguing. But what am I actually supposed to do with it? How can it really benefit me and my business? And to be perfectly honest, that is the right question. Because beneath all the hype, AI is already becoming genuinely useful for most people. Not in a science fiction kind of way, although, again, we're seeing AI being put into various technologies that really we don't need it to be in. I mean, why do we need an AI enabled toaster? I just can't even begin to imagine. But if it's not in a science fiction-y kind of way, it's in a very practical, um, I'm drowning in admin, and can AI actually help me? I need a PA, but I don't know if I can afford a personal assistant. Now, I was recently speaking to a business owner who spends nearly 2 hours every evening replying to emails. And that's not uncommon. 2 hours? Some of you might be actually saying, only 2 hours? I spend a hell of a lot more than that. Well, you probably do. But if you're trying to run a small business and you're spending hours answering emails every single day, then that's a problem. So we showed him how AI could help draft replies, summarize long emails, prioritize responses, and create first drafts that he could tweak and he could make them his own. Now, again, for the brevity of this video, I don't want to get into the too deep into the reads of, well, how's everyone's creating AI and we're all going to sound like the same thing. Well, I agree with you. AI is the starting point. It's not the finishing point. So we'll come back to that again later. And also there's guardrails we need to put in place. But that's the difference between the advice that consultants like us are giving and what other people are giving. And that's the worrying thing, because far too many people are talking about using these tools to create emails and blogs and contracts and everything else without thinking about the security, without thinking about privacy and data protection. But for this person, well, suddenly they got their evenings back, and that's when AI became exciting for them. Not because it was flashy and did lots of weird and wonderful things, and it's not just because it's trendy and he thought, well, this is something that I should be jumping onto. It's the latest zeitgeist, and that's where all the cool kids are at. It was something that was very practical and gave him some time back, which is the most valuable resource available. But let's be honest, there's already enough friction in business. And AI can, if not dealt with appropriately or implemented properly, can actually just illuminate the problems that are already in your business. So putting AI in place is not always just the be all and end all. It's not the ultimate answer. Because the mistake that people make is assuming AI means that there's going to be some massive transformation and that they'll be able to replace staff and replace complex systems, or that it becomes, or that they've got to become some kind of tech company. And it doesn't mean that at all. And it certainly doesn't mean putting AI on top of a bad system, a bad process. Because if you've got bad systems and bad process, all AI does is it scales it. It makes it bigger and much more obvious. But for many SMEs, AI is simply a very capable assistant. And then that's it. And if that's as far as you want to go right now, you can finish this video. Well, please don't finish this video, because you need to understand that there's guardrails that we need to put in place. There is security we need to consider. But just imagine having something that can help you draft policies, summarize meetings, clean up spreadsheets, write the first draft of a blog or an article that you want to write, and that you can brainstorm ideas with. It can help you improve your marketing, and it can organize the chaos in your life. Now, again, I'm just going to pause there and simply say to you that, yes, it can organize chaos in your life. And it's a phrase I've heard a few AI influencers starting to use. But the phrase I'm using, which is simply this, that we're implementing AI on top of data and business chaos. And that's a really bad thing to be doing. That is literally a technical plaster over a business that is already struggling. Okay. But there is real opportunity in the things that I've just suggested. Being able to draft a blog, start writing a blog. You don't have to sit there staring at a blank page any longer. You can ask a GPT for inspiration. It can talk to you just like an assistant, give you some ideas, which then allows you to start to write. And that's the real opportunity, because time is becoming one of the most expensive things in business. I've already said that it is the most valuable resource, which is one of the reasons why the fact that you're watching this video, that you're still watching this video, I'm truly grateful for, because you've given your time over to me to relay something that hopefully will not just be information, but will be transformation It will make you think differently. And that is the point of the videos that we create. I'm not here just to relate and regurgitate information and stats and such. Anyone could do that. The most valuable resource on this planet is time. And it's the most expensive. How much is your time worth? Because once it's spent, it's gone. We could always make more money, but we can't make more time. And that's what AI allows us to do. That is the real, genuinely, the biggest benefit. If anyone says to you, what is the biggest benefit of AI? It is that it saves you time. Not software, not hardware, not offices, time. And AI, when used properly, can give you that time back. And as I said, and this is important, and it's an important differentiation when it's used properly. It's needs to be used sensibly. And the thing that worries me is that we're seeing organizations, large and small, throwing sensitive business information into random tools because someone on LinkedIn told you to embrace the innovation. That's where things get really messy and start to get mixed up, because many teams are already using AI at work without any leadership even realizing it, even understanding what it is. This phrase, shadow AI, is something that, again, we're starting to hear in many circles. We've talked about shadow IT, meaning IT and technology that the IT department doesn't even know about. Now we're most definitely in the era of seeing shadow AI, because your teams and individuals in your business are using AI and not telling the IT department. And that leads us into a whole plethora of danger and problems, because we haven't had the leadership, we haven't had the conversation that's necessary. And what we're seeing is that they're uploading client emails, contracts, meeting notes, financial information, staff reports, internal reports, intellectual property, because they're assuming, well, it's just Chat GPT, right? Except it's not just Chat GPT. They're using multiple different tools. And as we all know, that your information is going into this into a GPT, and you don't know what's happening with it unless it's configured appropriately. And again, that's for another conversation. I'm just talking about here general Chat GPT, the thing that a lot of people are just signing up to, and a free account. And we're seeing people doing this in large organizations, law firms, accountants, public sector, private sector, manufacturing. It's across the board. We're hearing and seeing examples of just this inappropriate use of something like ChatGPT. Now, the analogy I like to give, I like to paint you a picture. ChatGPT and most GPTs are just like the ocean, and your users are standing on the shore. Your employees are standing on the shore, taking your company's crown jewels and throwing them into the ocean, in the hope that what they come back with is something sparkly and something bright and cheery. The trouble is, you're never going to be quite sure if you're getting the right information back. You're never going to be quite sure if you're getting the your crown jewels back. And worse still, anything or anyone who has access to the ocean can also extract the same jewels. But keep this in mind. Different AI tools handle information differently. Some retain data, some learn from prompts, some store that information externally. It's on the cloud, right? And as we all know, the cloud simply means somebody else's computer. So where is that information being held? And some AIs, of course, they integrate with other systems, which means if nobody sets boundaries, you can accidentally create security problems, GDPR issues, reputational damage, and massive loss of control over sensitive information. But the bit that really worries me is that many organizations will not discover this problem until after something goes wrong. And when we say something goes wrong, who knows what we mean by it goes wrong? Because at this point in time, who knows how bad this could get? And that's why the businesses getting AI right now are not the ones moving fastest. They're the ones moving deliberately. I'm saying that slowly so it will land. It's not the ones moving fastest, it's the ones moving deliberately. They're the ones that are asking, what are we using it for? Why are we using it? What are the risks? What are the rules that we need to put in place? And who's going to be held responsible and accountable for this? Now, that, in my opinion, is maturity. That's leadership. We need less technicians and more leaders. I've been saying it for a while. And in AI, we absolutely need that because AI governance is quickly becoming a business issue, not an IT issue. You may have heard those words before, right? That security is a business risk, not an IT risk. Well, yeah, this isn't a risk with, well, I guess it is, but we're saying this is an issue. It's a business issue, not an IT issue. Remember, I said this earlier, shadow AI exists, meaning that your IT team doesn't even know that people have signed up to it. So how could it be an IT problem? How can it be an IT issue? It's a business issue. And let's be really frank about this. Clients are starting to ask questions. Regulators are most definitely starting to ask questions. Your supply chains are starting to ask questions. Yeah, they want to know not just are you using AI, they want to know how are you using AI? Where are you using AI? How are you protecting the data? What controls are in place? And those questions are going to get deeper, just in the same way that we saw many years ago that security questions got deeper and deeper and deeper, resulting in the need for ISO standards like 27001. Other frameworks are available, but that's where it originated from. There was a need to have structured questions so that everyone can ask the same questions and get largely the same kind of responses, or they should be getting the same responses, that someone is in control of this. This is why we need things like 27001 to provide structure. That's why we need things like GDPR, the General Data Protection Regulation, or as I prefer to call it, giving data proper respect. And now we have a new ISO, it's a new kid on the block, ISO 42001. And it's all becoming more connected. We're seeing and helping organizations implement 27001 and other standards like 27701, the Personal Information Management System, or 27018, which is the Personal Information Management Systems in a cloud environment. We're seeing those being implemented, and now people are saying, look, now we've integrated those management systems, we also want to bring in 42001 so that we can integrate that as well. But here's the good news. You don't need a six-figure AI strategy to start. You do not need a room full of consultants. Now, I'm a consultant, and I'm not saying that you don't need us, because please, you still do need us. You need people to help you. But, you don't need digitally, informed people, digital Fridays and transformation programs that are going to take months, if not years, to implement. You can start small. Honestly, some of the best AI adoption programs that I'm seeing are incredibly simple, and they're simply implemented because people are thinking forward. They're moving forward slowly and deliberately. One company started using AI purely to summarize its meeting notes. Another used it to improve marketing headlines. Another used it to draft internal policies faster. And another used it to write tender responses. And they did it with guardrails. They did it with clearly written policies so that everyone understood how these tools should be used, why they should be used, when they should be used. These were small wins, low risk, immediate value. That's how sensible adoption works. And the other thing I am going to say is that just do not blindly trust AI output. AI can sound incredibly convincing while being completely wrong. The phrase that we use is trust but verify, because not only can AI sound convincing when it's wrong, it's confidently wrong, which, if we're honest, sounds a bit like some consultants I could mention, and I've certainly met over the years. But AI should support human judgment, not replace it. We hear this phrase all the time: keep humans in the loop, keep consultants in the loop, but definitely keep humans in the loop. AI should support human judgment, not replace it. As I've said, and I think that's a phrase, again, I'm going to find myself repeatedly telling people we need to keep people in the loop, because context still matters, experience still matters, people still matter, and humans are not the weakest link here, but they are always the target, especially when new technology appears faster than guidance does. So the smartest approach right now is actually quite boring. But boring is good, right? If you want to do something that is exciting and explosive in your organization, well, good luck to you, because explosions, well, they clear spaces for everyone else. So this is what you need to do. It's boring, yes. It's safe, yes. But this is my call to you, to call to actions for you as a business owner. I'm just going to simply say to you, create some simple rules, write an AI policy, answer some very fundamental questions. What AI are we using? Why are we using it? How are we going to protect the data and information that we have access to? And how are we going to protect the people who use this technology? And train your people as well. So you've written the policies, just train them on them. Train your people on the policies so they understand what you expect of them. If you are implementing AI in your organization, then start with some low risk use cases. See if you can use it in your marketing department to create more imaginative LinkedIn posts or articles or blogs. But use it steadily so that you can build confidence and build maturity as well. Most definitely, you need to protect the information. So again, within your AI policy, talk about how you protect information, what is and isn't acceptable. Now, it could be that you just simply extend your acceptable use policy. You do have one of those, right? If you don't, we need a separate conversation. But within the acceptable use policies already, you probably do talk about what you can and can't send via email. So you probably do say to people, don't use email to transfer sensitive information. Don't send personal information like bank details, etc., etc. Well, it's the same thing by extension. AI is just another tool. So what guardrails are you putting around that technology? And then you need to make sure you review this regularly. And I do mean regularly, because I don't know if you've noticed, but AI is moving at pace. You need to apply the brakes, slow down, take a look around you. Where are you now? And in a month's time, how is it going? How are people using it? Are we happy with the way that people are using it? Are our clients happy with the way that we're using it? Do we need to think about any additional safeguards in our organization? And then from there, you build gradually. No panic, no hype, Not pretending AI will solve every problem in your business, because it won't. If you've got cracks in your system, putting a plaster over it will only last you for so long. And as I've said before, AI will simply exacerbate and exaggerate what you already have in place. If you have data chaos and you put AI on top of it, guess what you're going to have? So create these simple rules, train your people, put the safeguards in place. Now, these are just practical improvements that reduce pressure and create efficiency over time. That is what AI does. Because let's be honest, if it's used properly, AI can absolutely become a competitive advantage, but only if it's used correctly, if you use it properly. Not because AI replaces your people, but because it frees your people up to do more valuable work. It saves them time, which is ultimately what AI should be doing for us. And that's the bit that genuinely excites me. Not artificial intelligence per se, in the same way that I didn't get really excited when spreadsheets became a big thing and we first had those. And in the same way that I didn't get overly excited when we had the internet. It wasn't the internet that excited me. It wasn't spreadsheets that excited me. It's what the possibilities were, the human potential with less unnecessary chaos around it. That human potential because we have space in which to grow, because the time has been given back to us. And just because I've talked for however long this video is, because I never watch myself on the video because I just can't do that. I do want to leave you with just a summary of what I've just said to you, the practical advice that I've suggested. Well, first of all, before I do that, I am going to thank you just for watching this video again, because your time is the most valuable and precious thing on earth. So thank you for giving some of your time over to me to watch this video. But the guardrails I'm simply suggesting to all business owners is this: write a simple AI policy, create a set of rules, set clear expectations. That's all we're asking you to do. And then train your people on it. Explain to them why AI is important, how it's going to improve their lives, how they should be using it. Then start with some low impact, low risk use cases in your business, and then build out from there. And there you are. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope that's been useful. This is probably the first AI specific video that I've created. I am going to be talking a lot more about ISO 42001, the artificial intelligence management systems, in more detail on other videos. But I hope that's been helpful as a bit of a primer on AI. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video. And if you haven't joined the ISO 27001 dojo, then you need to join, and I'll put the link somewhere on this video somewhere. But until next time, stay well, stay safe, and stay connected, and apply actual intelligence, not just artificial intelligence. Bye-bye.